So for this video I'm going to be going to a very special event, which is the first National Video Game Centre in the UK. So this isn't a games collection, a retro museum. This is a centre dedicated to video games, and here's some local press about it. It's been in the national press as well, and this is in my hometown Nottingham. And this is kind of came from, it's a festival we have every year called Game City, which is like celebrating computer games and all the indie developers. Also we have developers in the city like Crytek, so they're also celebrated in it, and kind of just an exploration of games really. And before that, the reason I've got an invite is because I used to work with my dad on a festival called Screenplay, which was all about cinema and how cinema relates to computer games. And it was a very small festival, but that kind of established the idea for a computer games festival in Nottingham. So yeah, let's see what this place is like.
Just to give you like the quick backstory of how we got here, we've been running a festival called Game City for almost 10 years. I know, right? 10 years. Again, in a time when I had hair, and was hair, didn't have a son, and it's a really interesting decade. We've all learned lots of things about ourselves and about what it means to try and take video games to the broader public. But a couple of years ago, the work we do at Nottingham Trent with the Science Museum, with the preservation of video games, we work on a thing called the National Video Game Archive there, which is about preserving what they could be and explaining really what games could be to members of the public that aren't necessarily like really already into them. We started to become a bit more playful with the kinds of things we did at the festival. So we did a project in Market Square with 2 big screens, started commissioning different kinds of work. And it became really clear to us that there's only so many years you can put a tent up in a Market Square and you start to appreciate things like floors, ceilings, heat, toilets, and things that allow you to kind of experiment with things in a different sort of way. And we started to pine for a home. And Jonathan, who talked to you, who I met in 2006, just before the first Game City, when he spoke about the first Lego Star Wars.
Wow.
It's been years since the first Lego Star Wars came. And has been a fantastic supporter of the project ever since. And I've been talking at the festival kind of every year really for most of that decade. We started talking about what we could do and what a home for video games might look like. So tonight, we'd like to invite you into what our imaginationing is, or imaginationing, right? That's okay. That's the word, right? Dean of Humanities here. Sorry. What our imagination dictates that home video games might be. So we want this to be a place where video games are played, because we think video games are for everybody. It's also really important. This is a place where things are going to be made. So we want this place to be a place where people make things. It's a place of creativity and kind of curiosity, right? So we'll speak about this as you go around the building, but the whole building is built to be a platform that people can play in and make things for. So things like the extraordinarily over-spec'd sound system that's currently relatively turned on, which Rob and the engineering department designed for the building. Rob? The lighting for all of the building being individually addressable. The ways you'll see when you work your way up the spine of the building as we go around, the way that the exhibits have been designed, we're trying to make this as transparent as possible to show people how the thing's made, how you make things, and hopefully to inspire young people, old people, mums, dads, nans, everybody to play around with technology and make amazing things.
But I have to admit, I'm a bit nonplussed these days when I look at modern video games. I've kind of fallen out of that world. I have the sort of same expression on my face when I see it that my dad had when he saw me playing Shadow of the Beast 2 on the Commodore. And by the way, if we can get Shadow of the Beast 2 in this building, I think I still remember the cheat. So I'll be here straight away. But you know, what's great about this place, and you'll see it as you walk around, is that it's a place for kids, but it's also a place for families. You know, I can't wait to take my daughter around here and show her the ZX Spectrum, because it was part of my experience growing up, and in the same way that modern video games are part of children's experience growing up now. And you know, that shared interaction, I see it in my own family, and I'm sure you've seen it in your family, between parents and children around video games, is cultural history that's being created. And yet, that up until now, there hasn't really been anywhere to celebrate that. You know, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio, celebrates music. The Louvre in Paris celebrates visual arts, and now in Nottingham we have the first place in the world that celebrates video games.
I'm very, really honoured actually to be invited here for this official press event and opening. I think it is so important to have something tangible, a building, a home, a real flag in the sand, literally bricks in a town that really say, this is culture, this is games, this is who we are, let's not be afraid of that. We spend a lot of our time as a trade association advocating the sector very, very passionately, because we are very passionate about this sector, to policymakers, decision makers, people who can make bad decisions for our sector, but also to other sectors, to other creative industries, because they simply are afraid of the word games very often, even though they grew up with them in many cases. And you know, we should have confidence, and we should be very proud of what we've achieved and our heritage and our history. We're only a young industry, as young as me, say 25, 40-something years old. And we've come such a long way for such a young sector, and it's important to continue that momentum. So it's fantastic that we actually have a physical space here. The industry is growing massively. We are seeing this huge entrepreneurial explosion of small companies, micro studios, single developers. Bigger studios still exist, medium-sized studios growing and growing. We are dominating culture, whether TV, film, and other creative industries realise it or not. Our global revenues are set to be over 100 billion by 2017. We have higher revenues in this country than music and film every single year, and people don't realise that, and people still claim we're not part of culture. Yes, we are. We employ 24,000 people across the country. More than any other creative industry, we have people outside of London. And we should be proud of that. We have about 18 clusters of activity, including in Nottingham. And this is why physical spaces like this is so important. I laugh sometimes to myself that people in the press in particular have suddenly latched on to this thing called esports. And esports has been around for bloody ages. And frankly, esports has been around since before Twitch and live streaming and the internet, because people used to crowd around arcade cabinets watching people who are awesome at games and much better than me. Everyone likes to watch people who are better at them. So I am really pleased that people are actually able to come here and see, spectate. And that is an incredibly important part of culture as well. Games are also the way that we understand culture. It's a language, a part of culture. It's a way that we can understand how the world around us works. It's a way that us as creators can actually express different ideas and deal with different issues and just play in the world and create these fantastically playful systems. And that's incredibly important for the future of our industry.
Thanks, Joe. Hello, Nottingham. This is a fantastic day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. I've been in games a little while. I joined the games industry not long after chess was invented in 607. And I've enjoyed every minute of it. I was being very lucky to turn my passion of playing games into a business of making them. And what I really like about the industry is not just its creativity, not just its skills, but the people in it. They are warm and friendly and very creative people, and that's fantastic to see. It is so important that we celebrate the people as well as the culture of games in this very building here. So lots of people have been responsible for this, and I think we should, again, for the final time, say well done to Ian, well done to Jonathan and the team here, and of course, not forgetting creative culture, not forgetting Nottingham Training University, and of course City Council. All their support has made this happen, and it's a wondrous that it's happening right here. And so interesting for me that workshop is now here, and clearly Nottingham is the epicenter of the games world. And why do we enjoy games so much? Well, when we enter this world as babies, we interact and we learn through play, through interactive. Play is natural, and we're never too young to start playing games, and we're actually never too old to stop. And the fact that people think, oh, you're too old to play those games anymore, is just stupid, because play is absolutely natural. So let's celebrate the art form, let's celebrate the culture, and let's not forget about the economic impact. Grand Theft Auto 5, the largest entertainment franchise in any medium, it generated $1 billion in 3 days. And that should be seen as a great British success story, not castigating the press for its content. If you judged every film on the back of Saw and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you'd likely see a negative picture around the film industry. But we know there's a huge spectrum of content in film. Similarly, there's a huge spectrum of content in games. It's not just about console games now. We've got all sorts of devices. We've got all great diversity in content, great diversity in people making games. And you only have to look on public transport, the number of people who are playing games on those smart devices. And Candy Crush Saga. Who's played Candy Crush? Well, that shows the opportunity. We all know Candy Crush generates getting on close to $2.5 million a day in revenue. And King is a UK registered company, and it sends out a great message to people wanting to join the industry. So one of the good things, particularly about this wonderful arcade here, is that it demonstrates and sends a positive message about games as a potential career choice for children. Parents and teachers, media, politicians can all see what is possible here. And just to have it here makes me feel very proud to be associated with, because we have been fighting a bit of a rearguard action for some 40 years, whereas other entertainment industries like film and theatre have had the BFI, the National Theatre, lottery funding. We've always been in the trenches, having to survive, making money, and not having the luxury of creating the cultural content and having games seen as an art form. But now, of course, we can. Because of the app stores, because of the internet, we can have small, agile companies making totally original content, finding new ways of playing, new audiences, displaying their own art style, whether it's Monument Valley and all the myriad of great games that are being produced here. This is really the second golden age of games, and I'm delighted to be associated. So you should all congratulate yourselves. This is a fantastic achievement for everybody involved. And I can see the whole world's going to end up coming here to visit what is a fantastic town and a fantastic opportunity. So well done. Give yourselves a great
found it to be an excellent launch for the National Video Game Arcade, and there were some great speakers there, amazing speeches, the exhibitions were really nice, and the building itself was amazing. Go along and check it as it's just opened today. There's things I haven't mentioned. They've got a bar there, they've got loads of other stuff, because I didn't film the whole exhibition. It was 2 days before it was made, so there may be additional things that have arrived. They have an extra floor upstairs with workshop spaces so kids can do activities. That first space we also had, that where we initially met in, that can be a cinema space or a kind of performance space. So go along and check it out.